A normal examination can coexist with sexual violence. A positive finding can still have several explanations. And even a DNA association does not answer every legal question. That tension is the center of this learning unit. Our task is to use medical evidence accurately, neither dismissing it when findings are absent, nor overstating it when findings are present. By the end, you should be able to separate what medicine observes from what the law must ultimately decide. Begin with the central discipline. The examination may identify injury, biological material, infection, pregnancy, or findings compatible with a reported act. Those are medically relevant facts, but the examination standing alone cannot determine consent, coercion, credibility, or whether the legal elements of rape have been proved. The same caution works in both directions. A normal examination is not proof that nothing happened, while a positive finding is not a verdict. Medical evidence informs the legal inquiry. It does not replace it. Before looking at the medical certificate, identify the legal question. First, when did the act occur? That determines the applicable penal law. Second, what statutory mode is charged? Rape by sexual intercourse, rape by sexual assault, statutory rape, or a different child protection offense. Third, which facts matter to that mode? Age, the specific act, force, threat, incapacity, or abuse of authority. Article 266D does not make physical resistance an element, so the absence of defensive injury cannot be treated as the absence of non-consent. The examination has three connected but distinct purposes. First is clinical care. Assess urgent inquiry, pregnancy and infection risk, mental health needs, safety, treatment, and follow-up. Second is forensic work. Obtain a relevant history, document findings neutrally, collect indicated specimens, and preserve chain of custody. Third is expert interpretation. Explain what the findings reasonably support and where they stop. Consent should be sought separately for care, anogenital examination, photography, specimen collection, and release of information. Trauma-informed practice preserves safety, choice, privacy, predictability, and control. Why is a normal examination common? Some contact does not produce injury. Tissue may stretch, lubrication may reduce trauma, or compliance may be induced by fear or authority rather than physical force. Minor abrasions, redness, and some lacerations can heal rapidly. Detection also depends on timing, lighting, position, magnification, training, and image quality. In Heger and colleagues' referral series, 96.3% of all examined children and 95.6% of those reporting abuse had normal examinations. Those figures describe that population. They are not a universal probability. The principle is simpler. Normal is neutral. Now consider a positive finding. An acute injury may support recent trauma, compatibility with the described mechanism, and the need for treatment. But it does not by itself identify the actor, establish lack of consent, prove force or intimidation, or name the legal offense. A healed change may suggest prior trauma, if reliably classified, yet usually cannot supply an exact date or mechanism. Counsel should ask, how specific is this finding? What alternative explanations exist? When an expert says consistent with, the careful translation is compatible with, not diagnostic of. DNA interpretation moves through different levels. A source level association may support whose biological material is present. Activity level reasoning asks how, when, and under what circumstances it was deposited. That requires attention to mixtures, indirect transfer, persistence, consensual contacts, contamination, and analytical thresholds. The legal questions of force, coercion, and consent remain further downstream. Chain of custody shows specimen integrity. It does not manufacture biological relevance. And a negative result means only that probative material was not detected. No ejaculation, condom use, cleansing, delay, degradation, limited sampling, or analytical limits may explain the absence. The examiner may document reported words, threats, incapacity, intoxication, authority, and observed behavior. But consent and coercion are legal factual conclusions drawn from the entire evidence. Threats, intimidation, authority, manipulation, freezing, fear, and reputational harm may overcome free will without leaving visible trauma. Credibility is also not a medical diagnosis. Calm effect, fragmented recall, delayed disclosure, continued contact, or lack of physical resistance are not automatic proof of either truth or falsity. Medical evidence may corroborate one feature, contradict another, or remain neutral. The case of Tabayan teaches that an intact hymenal appearance and absence of laceration do not exclude the slightest penetration required by law. Toralde teaches that a romantic relationship does not establish consent, and that threat and fear may overcome free will without injury or physical resistance. The case of Gramatica addresses offense classification under Section 5B of Republic Act 7610 and the revised Penal Code. Its teaching limit is important. Use it to analyze statutory elements, not to claim that anatomy proves participation, coercion, consent, or exploitation. Always return to age, date, allegations, and the offense charge. On direct examination, establish qualifications and method. Then ask the examiner to identify each positive and negative finding in neutral anatomical terms. Move from observation to meaning. What can the finding reasonably support? Then invite the limitation. Can a normal examination exclude penetration? And can anatomy determine consent? On cross-examination, test scope, alternative causes, timing, collection quality, classification, and DNA activity level limits. A useful question is, when you say consistent with, you mean compatible rather than diagnostic, correct? Rigorous advocacy does not require myths about resistance, virginity, demeanor, or delayed reporting. The method is now straightforward. Start with the elements and the date of offense law. Separate clinical care, forensic collection, and legal adjudication. Treat normal findings as neutral. For a positive finding, ask what it supports, how specific it is, and what alternatives remain. Separate source level DNA from activity level and consent inferences. Protect identity, privacy, dignity, and safety. State uncertainty honestly. Only then integrate testimony, medical findings, laboratory evidence, and governing law. Medical evidence can corroborate, contradict, or remain neutral, but it is never a mechanical proxy for rape, consent, coercion, or credibility.